So today we are going to study the third method, that is rate of return, which come under traditional methods. This method takes into account the earning expected from the investment over the whole life. It is known as accounting rate of return method for the reason that under this method the accounting concept of the profit which you are going to take, that is net profit after tax and depreciation, is used rather than cash inflows. So we are going to reject some of the projects which are of lower rate of return, and we are going to accept some of those projects which are of higher return. And indirectly we can say that this method can be used to make a decision as to accepting or rejecting the proposal. So we are going to discuss how we are going to find the profitability level. So there are four methods how we can calculate the average rate of return. So the first one is average rate of return method. Under this method, the average profit after tax and depreciation is calculated, and then it is divided by the total capital outlay or the total investment in the project. In other words, it can be done like this: total profit, that is after depreciation and taxes, divided by net investment in project into number of years of the profit into 100, or average annual profit divided by net investment in the project into 100. So we can understand this by this simple example. The project requires an investment of rupees 5 lakh and has a scrap value of 20,000 after 5 years. It is expected to yield profits after depreciation and taxes during 5 year amounting to rupees 40, 60, 70, 50, 20. Calculate the average rate of return on the investment. Solutions. So total profit, we need to add all these things. So we will get 2,40,000. After that we need to find the average profit, because the formula is average annual profits. That's why 2,40,000 divided by 5, we will get 48. And after that we need to find the average net investment in the project. So total net investment is 5 lakh and there is a scrap value, that is 20. So 5 lakh minus 20, you will get 4,80,000. So after subtracting it, we will get net investment in project. So after this we are going to calculate net average rate of return, that is average annual profit divided by net investment in project into 100. That is 40,000, 48,000, that is average profit divided by annual net investment in the project, that is 4,80,000 into 100. So we will get 10%. The second method is return per unit of investment method. So the formula for this is net total profit after for all the thing we will take after depreciation and taxes, divided by net investment in the project into 100. So the example for this is continuing illustration, that is from the previous one only. They have calculated total profit. What is the total profit over there? We have calculated 2,40,000. So 2,40,000 divided by 4,80,000 into 100, we will get 50%. This investment is for per unit. So the next one is return on average investment method. So in this method, the return on average investment is calculated using of average investment for the purpose of return on investment in preferred, because the original investment is recovered over the life of the asset on account of depreciation charges. For example, a machine costs 1 lakh and has a scrap value after 5 years. It is depreciated on the straight line method. So these are the depreciation value. So these are some of the values. First, what we will do, we need to find the average investment, that is total of this, that is 3 lakh divided by 6, because we are having 6 years, equal to 50. So the average investment with total investment divided by 2, that is 1 lakh divided by 2, that is 50. So we will find average the return on average investment is total profit of after depreciation and taxes divided by total net investment divided by 2 into 100. The formula for this will be this one. So they have given you one more example, taking some figures as given in the illustration 8. Again, the return on average investment will be total profit, that is 2,40,000. Again the same thing, which one? This one only, divided by 4,80,000, which we have calculated earlier over here only, 4,80,000 divided by 2 into 100, so we will get 100%. So the last method is average return on average investment method. So this is a method this is the most approximate method of rate of return on investment. Under this method, the average profit after depreciation and taxes is divided by the average amount of investment. Thus, the formula will be average annual profit after depreciation taxes divided by average investment. Average investment means net investment divided by 2 into 100. The formula, they have directly applied the formula on the same problem. So they have applied the average annual, that was 48,000 divided by 4 lakh divided by 2, that is 2,40,000 they got into 100, so they got 20%. There are some of the examples over here they have given you can try this. So next we will discuss the advantage and disadvantage of rate of return method. So the advantages are, as it is very simple and easy to calculate, entire earning of the project is calculated rate of return, and not only the earning up to payback period, and hence given a better view of profitability. It is a method based upon accounting concept of profits. It can be readily calculated from the financial data. So there are some of the disadvantages as well. This method also, like payback period method, ignores the time value of the money. So it also ignores the time value of money. It does not take into consideration the cash inflows which are coming in, flows which are more important than the accounting profits. Then it ignores the period in which the profit are earned, as 20% rate of return in 2.5 years may be considered to be better than 18% rate of return on for 12 years like this. So this method cannot be applied to a situation where investment in a project is to be made in parts. So these are the some of the advantages and disadvantages of rate of return method. Now we will discuss the next method. So till now we have discussed related to traditional method. Right now we are going to discuss with time adjusted or discounted cash flow methods. So under this, the first one is net present value method. So the net present value method is a modern method of evaluating investment proposals. This method takes into consideration the time value of money and attempts to calculate the return on investment by introducing the factors of time elements. It recognizes the fact that a rupee earned today is worth more than the same rupee earned tomorrow. The net present value of all inflows and outflows of cash occurring during the entire life of the project is determined separately for each year by discounting these flows by the firm's cost of capital or a predetermined rate. The following are the necessary steps to be followed for adopting the net present value method for evaluating investment proposals. First of all, determine an appropriate rate of return, rate of interest, that is how much discount or cutoff rate you are going to give. Then second, compute the present value of total investment that is related to cash outflow. Then again you are going to calculate the present value of total proceeds, that is on cash inflows. Then calculate net present value of each project by subtracting present value of cash inflow from the present value of cash outflow. Then, if the net present value is positive or zero, it means that cash inflow is exceeding or equal to cash outflow. And the last one is to select between mutually exclusive projects. The project should be ranked in order to in order of net present values, that is the first preference should be given to the project having maximum positive or net present value. So the formula for this is PV equal to 1 divided by 1 plus R की power n. PV equal to present value, R means rate of interest or discount rate, and number n means number of years. The present value of all the cash inflows for a number of year in this found as follows. So this is for n years they have given you this thing. So after this they have prepared a table that if on the 8%, then the percentage will be or discount will be this one. That is present value of ₹1 payable or receivable annually for n years. So it is for 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 20. So here is the example. We can understand this method by this example. So they have given you from the following information calculate net present value of two projects and suggest which of the two projects should be expected assuming a discount rate of 10%. So they have provided you how much discount you need to give. So they have given you initial investment, that is 20, estimated life 5 years, and scrap value for 1 year, that is for project X, and the same thing they have given you for Y30, 5 and 2000. The profit before depreciation and after tax cash flow are as follows. So everything we need to take is that is profit after tax and depreciation. So they have provided the value for 1 to 5 years, that is for both the projects. So first we are going to calculate for project X. So make the table like this and then start the calculation and write down give the heading as calculation for net present value for the project X. So the first one, that is year, second one cash flow, third year present value of ₹1, that is at the rate of 10% discount factor using present value tables, and the last one present value of net cash flows. So the first one, that is for the first year 5,000, they have given over you for the first year 5,000, then for the second year 10, 10, 3, 2, like this you are going to write it. So they have written all the values over here, and in the end you are going to write the scrap value as well, that is ₹1,000, which they have given in the starting only. See over here the scrap value is 1,000. So after this what you are going to do, you are going to apply 10% of discount rate. Over here they have given you the table. So the first year the discount rate for the 10 year, that is 0.90909. So instead of taking the whole number we are going to take 2 to 3 units. So in this we are taking 3 units. So it will be, and we can round it off up to 3 units. So it will be 0.909. So we are going to write the amount 0.909, and we are going to multiply 0.909 to 5,000. You will get 4,545. Same thing you are going to do with all the other 4 years. So for the second, the net present value is 826. Again you need to refer the table. See for the 10% discount for the second year they have given you 8.82654. So again we are going to round it off up to 3, that is 826. Again for the next year, that is 751. So we are going to 0.751. Again for the fourth year is 683. Again for the fifth year 0.206292. So instead of taking 6209, because the fourth number is more than 5, we will round it off and we are going to take 621. See they have given you over here 6.826751, 683, 621, 621. We are taking the same value for the scrap value, because for the fifth year the discount rate is given for 0.621. So we are going to multiply all these things with this and we will get the total 24,227. So the net present value of cash, all cash inflows is 24,227, and less present value of initial investment, how much we have invested, that is 20,000. Because all the investment is to be made in the first year only, the present value in the same, as a cost of initial investment. So the net present value will be, after subtracting this one from this, we will get 4227. Same thing we are going to apply on project Y, and we will get 4728. So which project is good? That is 4227 or 4728. So as the value of project Y is more as compared to project X, that's why we will say that, hence we can conclude that the project Y should be selected instead of project X. So there are some of the advantages and disadvantages on this. So the net present value, the advantages of net present value method is, it recognizes the time value of money and is suitable to be applied in a situation with a uniform cash outflow and uneven cash inflows or cash flows at a different period of time. Second one, it takes into account the earning over the entire life of the project, and the true profitability of the investment proposal can be evaluated. And the third one, it takes into consideration the objective of maximum profitability. And there are some of the disadvantages. As compared to the traditional method, the net present value more difficult to understand and operate. So that were all the traditional method were easy to understand and can be calculated easily, but this is not easy to understand. This is not easy to understand or operate. It may give good result while comparing the project with the unequal life of the project having higher present value, but realized in a longer lifespan may not be desirable for the project having something lesser at a present value achieved in much shorter span of life of the asset. In the same way as the above, may not give good result while comparing project with unequal investment of the funds. And the last one, it is easy to determine the approximate discount rate. The next method is internal rate of return method. The internal rate of return method is also a modern technique of capital budgeting that takes into account the time value of money. It is also known as time adjusted rate of return or discounted cash flow, discounted rate of return or yield method, and trial and error yield method. So there are various names of this method. So the formula for this one is over here: A1 upon A1 plus R, A2 upon 1 plus R2. That is, these are the years. So initial outlay at time 0, then for future net cash flows at different periods, and n is equal to, that is this 1 to 3 is equal to n is equal to number of years, and the R is related to rate of discount of internal rate of return. So there are two methods to calculate internal rate of return. The first one, when the annual net cash flows are equal over the life of the asset. First, find out the present value factor by dividing initial outlay, that is cost of investment, by annual cash flow, that is present value factor initial outlay divided by annual cash flow. The consult present value NAT table given at the end of the book as appendix B with the number of years equal to the life of the asset, and find out the rate at which the calculated present value factor is equal to the present value of given in the table. So again they have given you the table, that is present value NAT table. In this again they have given you percentage 6, 7, 8, 9, and related to they have given you the how much amount you need to provide them according to the year and according to the percentage. So the example is over here. For a more complete, leave that. Illustration 17, initial outlay they have given you 50, life of the asset they have given you 5 years, then estimated annual cash flow, that is 12,500, and you need to calculate internal rate of return. The shortcut name for this is also IRR method. So you are going to calculate present value factor, that is initial outlay divided by annual cash flow. 50,000, this one, divided by 12,500, you will get 4,000. Sorry, you will get 4. That is present value factor. Consulting present value annuity table for the 5 years, providing periods at present value factor of 4. Initial rate of return. So now we are going to calculate IRR, that is 8% approx. As we see from the table that at 8% for 5 years period, the present value is 3.9927, which is nearly equal to 4. So how you are going to find that 8% 8% discount you are giving? So they have given you that for the 5 years you are going to take, and the present value factor is 4. So you will see it like this. First, go in 5 year, find out that this is more than 4, so we will reject this. This is also more than 4, we will reject this. So this is exactly approximate to 4, 3.9927, which is of 8%. So that's why they have given you 8% approx. So the next method is when the annual cash flows are unequal over the life of the assets. So when the annual cash flow are unequal over the life of the assets, so we can't provide the IRR like how we have provided in this one, that is 8%. So in such cases, the internal rate of return is calculated by hit and trial, and that is why this method is also known as hit and trial yield method. So this is also known as, other name for this method is hit and trial yield method. We may start with any assumed discount rate and find out the total present value of cash outflow, which is equal to the cost of the initial investment. So the calculation process can be summed up as follows. Prepare the cash flow table using the arbitrary assumed discount rate. So first we are going to take any kind of assumed discount, and on that we are going to prepare the cash flow table. So the second one is we need to find out the net present value by deducting from the present value of total cash flows calculated in above, that is above the initial cost of the investment. The third one, if the net present value is positive, apply higher rate of discount. If the higher rate of discount still gives a positive, then increase the discount rate further until the NPV becomes negative. If the NPV is negative at a higher rate, the internal rate of return must be between these two rates. So we can understand that thing with the given example over here. So they have provided you the initial investment, that is 60, life of the asset, that is 4 years, then estimated net annual cash flow, according to the years they have given you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Calculate the internal rate of return. So first prepare the cash flow table at various assumed rate discount. So already you have provided the rates 12, 14 and 15. You are going to calculate on these assumed rates. You can assume something else also. So the first one, that is 50, 20, 30, 20. You have written over here. Again you need to prefer the NPV, that is PVF, that is on 10% rate of discount. So for 10% rate of discount, the PVF will be for the first year. Over here you can see 10% for the first year is 0.9091. Say 0.909. Again we are going to take only up to 3 decimals. So we will multiply 15 into 0.909. You will get this. Again you are going to see the table and you are going to see all the amounts of PVF, and you are going to multiply again 892 into 15. You will get this amount. Again 0.877 into 15, you will get this one, and again you will get this one. Like this you are going to calculate up to 4 years. After this you are going to total all the PVs of 10, 12, 14 and 15. After adding all this stuff, you will come to know that we are going to compare these amounts, total amounts of all the discounted rate with the initial investment which they have made, that is 60,000. So 66,345 is more as compared to 60. So we are going to reject this one. Again we are going to compare 63. Again this one is more than 60. So we are going to reject this one. So 6595, this is nearer to 60. So we can accept this one. 59,285 we can accept because it is less than 60. So we need to take two values, which is more and which one is nearest less or more. So again the present value of the net cash flow, that is at the rate of 14%, is 60, that is more than 60,000, and at the rate of 15, that is less than 59. Again we are going to subtract these two from the 60. So if we are going to subtract 60,000 from 16,595, we will get 595. That is of positive NPV, that is on 14%. Again we are going to subtract, that is of 15% discount, that is 59,285 from 60, we will get negative 715 of 15%. After this we are going to apply the formula, that is IR equal to 14%, which is this one, plus both the values 595 divided by 595, plus we are going to total both these value into both the percentage, that is 15 minus 14%, you will get 14.45. In this method we are going to calculate the IRR, where the cash flows are more than the investment amount. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of the internal rate of return, that is IRR method. So the first one, like the net present value method, it takes into account the time value of money and can be useful applied in a situation when even as well as uneven cash flows at different period of time. Is consider the profitability of the project for its entire economic life and hence enables evaluation of true profitability. The determination of the cost of capital is not prerequisite for the use of this method, and hence it is better than the net present value method, where the cost of capital cannot be determined easily. It provides the uniform ranking. Then the method is compatible with the objective of maximum profitability and is considered to be more reliable technique of capital budgeting. There are some of the disadvantages. It is difficult to understand again, and most difficult method of evaluating of investment proposal. Then this method is based upon the assumption, because we are assuming the discount rates. Then the result of NPV method and IR method may differ when the projects under the evaluation differ in their size, life and time of the cash flows. Hope you have understood this method. The next one is profitability index method or benefit cost ratio. The other name of profitability index method is benefit cost ratio. It is also time adjusted method of evaluating the investment proposal. The profitability index is also called as benefit cost ratio or desirability factor in the relation between the present value of cash inflows and the present value of cash outflow. So profitability index method can be calculated as present value of cash inflow divided by present value of cash outflows. The another method is PV of cash inflow divided by initial cash outlay, or in the profitability index may be found for net present value of inflows, that is PI equal to net, that is NPV, that is net present value divided by initial cash outlay. The net profitability index can also be found by profitability index gross minus 1. So there are some of the advantages and disadvantages of profitability index method. The method is a slight modification of net present value method. The net present value method has a major drawback, that is, it is not easy to rank projects on the basis of their this method, particularly when the cost of the project differs significantly. To evaluate such projects, the profitability index method is most suitable, and the other advantages and disadvantages same as those of net present value method. So here is the for example they have given you. The initial cash outlay of project is 50,000 and it generates a cash inflow of 20, 15, 25, 10 for the 4 years. Using present value index method, appraising profitability of the proposed investment, assuming 10% rate of discount. Again, you are going to make the table. So calculation of present value and profitability index 1, 2, 3, 4. Then these are the amounts which they have given you for the 4 year, 20, 15, 25, 10. Then you are going to apply 10% of PVF and you are going to multiply this one with this and you will get this amount. You are going to total this one. So after totaling, you got the amount. So total net present value is 56,175. But the initial outlay, how much they have given you? 50. That is 56,175 minus 50. So the net present value you got is 6,175. On the basis of this, you are going to calculate the profitability index. So the profitability index gross, that is present value of cash inflow divided by initial cash outlay. So the present value is 56,175 divided by initial, that is they have given you over here 50. So you will get 1.1235. As the profitability index is higher than 1, the proposal can be accepted. So after profitability index, we are going to find the net profitability index, that is NPV divided by initial cash outlay, that is 6175. That is this amount which we got net present value divided by initial outlay, that is 50. So you will get 0.1235. That is NPV equal to 1.1235 minus 1, that is you will get 0.1235. As the net profitability index is positive, the proposal can be accepted. So if the proposal is in the positive, then you can accept. Otherwise, if it is in the negative, you can reject the proposal. So till over here, we have completed all the methods related to time adjusted.